Houston, we have a household debt problem. Hello everybody, my name's Leith Van Onselen, the unconventional economist, chief economist at macrobusiness.com.au and the MB Fund, coming at you again with another macro breakdown. Now, the Bank for International Settlements has recently released data on household debt levels across the developed world, and it showed that Australia once again has taken the silver medal for the most household debt in the world, with a ratio of 119% household debt to GDP. This is a fair way behind Switzerland, which took the gold medal, but nonetheless it's the second highest in the world. Now, the chart on the right-hand side plots household debt to GDP as measured by the Bank for International Settlements across the major English-speaking nations. And as you can see, Australia is well ahead of everywhere else. Another interesting thing to note here is that Australia's current ratio of household debt, which is 119%, is actually higher than what Ireland's was during the peak of the GFC at 117%, just before it suffered its major housing crash. An interesting note here is that although obviously the ratio of household debt has exploded over the past decade or so, actual mortgage repayments have fallen quite significantly despite the rise in household debt. Now, the reason for this is obviously because mortgage rates have fallen significantly over the past 30 years, from around 17% in the late 1980s to about 3.5% currently, and they've in fact also fallen over the pandemic. And what this has meant is that the ratio of mortgage interest repayments to household income is now tracking at levels not seen since the late 1990s. And the same goes for household debt. However, total debt repayments for households, which includes both principal and interest, has actually begun to pick up recently. The reason for that is because obviously house prices have skyrocketed. In 2021, Australian house prices across the 5 major capitals rose by 24%, and this drove the ratio of house prices to household disposable income from about 5 at the start of the pandemic to around 6 now. And this rise in house prices obviously more than offset the fall in mortgage rates. Now, why does this matter? Well, while variable mortgage rates have fallen over the pandemic, fixed rates have already begun to rise. Fixed rates of less than 3 years duration, so anything from 1 to 3 years, have risen from a low of 1.95% last year to 2.43% as of January. Fixed mortgage rates of over 3 years duration have fallen from a low of 1.99% last year to just over 3% currently. That's an increase of 54%. And in fact, recent analysis released by CanStar shows just how much mortgage repayments have risen for those on fixed rate mortgages, both because mortgage rates have risen and because house prices have risen. Now, at the beginning of January 2021, the median house price in Australia was $623,600. By January 2022, it had risen to $778,255. Over the same time, the typical fixed mortgage rate had risen from 2.32% to 2.95%, an increase of 0.64%. And what this has done is this has increased monthly mortgage repayments for the typical person on a fixed mortgage by $687 per month across the nation. And obviously in places like Sydney, the increase has been even greater by about $1,359. So this just sort of shows you how sensitive Australians are to increases in mortgage rates. Those on variable mortgages have also experienced an increase in monthly repayments purely because house prices have risen. Again, as shown by CanStar, over that period when the median house price rose across Australia, mortgage repayments, the monthly mortgage repayment rose by $461 and by nearly $1,000 in Sydney. This is despite the fact the average variable mortgage rate fell from 3.27% to 3.04%. Now, why does this matter? It's because the median economist is tipping that Australia's interest rates will rise from their current low of 0.1% by about 1.25% by 2024, whereas the market is tipping that Australia's interest rates will rise by around 2.5% over the same period. So use CanStar's median as a guide, as a base, as of January 22 of $778,255, and we infer a 1.25% rise in variable mortgage rates, which would take the variable mortgage rate from 3.04 to 4.29%, we'd see monthly repayments rise by $439 to $3,077 a month. That's a massive increase. Even more so, if mortgage rates were to follow the market's view, and increase by 2.5% to 5.54%, this would see monthly repayments rise by $913 to $3,551 a month. Now, obviously, such a sharp rise in mortgage rates would put Australian households under huge pressure. It would likely lead to a big fall in house prices and would dramatically slow the Australian economy. So what's the implications for interest rates here? When the RBA does finally begin to lift rates from its current low of 0.1%, it's going to have a marked impact on home buyers because home buyers are so indebted. And what this means is that the RBA doesn't actually need to lift rates very much to have the desired result of slowing demand. Now, most economists are tipping that the RBA is going to begin lifting interest rates in either June or September this year. My view is they'll probably wait till later on in the year, once wait for stronger wage growth. But regardless, these interest rate rises are going to have a massive impact. They're going to slow the economy. And for that reason, I personally don't see the RBA lifting rates by more than 1% from the current level, because it'll simply have too big an impact on the economy. Anyway, that's enough for me today. I hope you liked my quick rundown of the mortgage market and Australia's household debt levels and why I believe it poses a substantial threat to the Australian economy going forward. Remember to leave a like, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.